I recreated these famous YouTubers' thumbnails, like this one from Ryan Trahan, and I will show you how I did this with the help of Blender, a 3D modeling software that I use for creating thumbnails, so let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thumbnail that I'm going to be recreating is going to be this one from Ryan Trahan. It's a pretty simple thumbnail, thankfully, so we won't have to be doing too much. So let's get right into it. So right here I have my gorrilla tag model. What I will do is change it to a color that I think could better match to the thumbnail. So obviously, since it's me, I'll just do it to 0.5, 0.4, 0.7. This is my color code, by the way, for those of you wondering. But I think I'll change it a little bit more, make it a little bit more blue, just so that it looks a little bit more like what my color code's supposed to look like. Now, just using the navigation tool right here, the walk navigation, I'm just gonna line it up more to my face, a little bit to the side, something around like this. Then I'll bring it back, the FOV a little bit, yeah, just like that. Now from this view right here, I'm just gonna pose this a little bit, so our body's gonna be a little bit tilted, then face a little bit more, and a little bit up, I guess, although better would be changing it a little bit more like this, yeah. So this will match a little bit better. Okay, so I did indeed find a face that I feel like could match a little bit better to the thumbnail. So what we're obviously going to do is change this to closest so that it looks a little bit more actual gorilla tag, because if we just keep this on linear, as you guys can see, the face is very like blurry and smudgy. If you change it to closest, it'll change back and it'll actually be pixelated. So that's already it. Although what I do want to do is just move them over a little bit more. But yeah, that's all that we're gonna do in Blender. So I'm gonna go ahead and render this out, and then we're gonna go into Phototopia. Okay, so now that I'm done with rendering the image, the first thing that I'll do is import the original thumbnail so that I know what I'm trying to recreate. So this right here is going to be the thumbnail. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is importing our face. So there is the face that we're going to be importing and using for this thumbnail. I'm going to just scale it up a little bit so that it matches better to the background. I will add a grass texture from gorilla tag, so that'll be our grass texture that we're going to be using. Obviously, there's still going to be some things that will change the looks of the thumbnail, so don't judge it just quite yet. Now, the next thing that we need is a picture of a dollar bill, which this one right here looks perfect, actually. So now that we have the dollar bill in the thumbnail, I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. I want to look at the original again, so I'm just going to overlay it a tiny bit. So in the original thumbnail, it actually has the dollar bill scaled down a tiny bit more. And then we obviously want to add the day one text. So now we're going to have to change this font since this is not the correct font. Okay, I just downloaded the font that we're going to need for this thumbnail, so I'm just going to quickly import that. So now I have the font inside. Now we can just select it, and it was the bold version, I'm pretty sure. This is the closest that I can get to the original one, which, to be honest, it doesn't look too far off. Now what we're going to do is add a black outline to it. So I'm just going to do that by adding a stroke to it, making the stroke a little bit thicker. So yeah, that's pretty close. And then now we're going over into shading everything. So what I can instantly notice is there's a drop shadow on on Ryan in this case. So we're going to add a little drop shadow to our monkey. We'll change the opacity to be a little bit less. And there's also a drop shadow on the dollar bill, so we're also going to add that. Then the text was fine like this, and now we're just going to go over to color grading. So I'm going to use the camera raw filter, and I'll just boost the saturation of the background. Although, when I'm looking at it, I'm going to get a new one. Okay, so I have a new texture now, so we're just going to use this one for the background. There we go. That one looks way better already. And now we also don't have to color grade the background, but only the monkey. So we're going to do that really quickly. So there we go. Now we have our monkey ready. And now what I'm just gonna do is merge all of these layers to be one singular layer. And now we're gonna add some color filtering to this again. So what I'm just gonna do is just up the vibrance a little bit, change it up to 75. So now this thumbnail is ready to go. This is the finished product, and we'll get right into the next thumbnail. Okay, so now continuing where we left off, the next thumbnail that I'm going to be making is going to be this one from Mr. Beast. So what we're gonna need is our player right here. First off, we aren't going to be smiling anymore. So let me get a face that'll match this a little bit better really quickly. So I found a face that I think will work perfectly for this thumbnail, so let's import that really quickly. Obviously change it back to closest again so that it's pixelated and not blurry. Now from our camera's view, this is what we see. So what I'm going to quickly go ahead and do is use the navigation and just move it around a little bit so that it's a little more centered. Now what I want to do is, first off, we're going to be looking into the camera for this thumbnail, so we're going to need my head rotated towards the camera. Although his head is a little more rotated to the right, he is lying, so we're going to make it a little more angled like that, so this looks a little bit better. Then our right hand is already perfect for what we need. Now we just want to move the left hand, so let's do that really quickly. Hand is in position now. I'm just gonna change the position of the elbow a little bit. So now that's a little bit better. I'm also gonna make the hand reach out a tiny bit more. So right now it just looks like he's doing a high five. And there we go. That's it. So I'm gonna render this, and then I'm gonna see you guys in Phototopia. Okay, so now we're in Phototopia. So I got really lucky and I found some perfect assets for this thumbnail that we're gonna be making. So obviously first off we'll import the original, which is this right here. So I'm gonna set this as our background so that you guys know what we're going to be recreating. Then this is the asset that I found, which, to be honest, I'm surprised that I found something that almost matches up perfectly with what I need. So this is really nice. And then the next thing that we're going to be importing is our player, of course. So I'm going to import him right here. So now he is in the frame. I'm going to center him a little bit more since he is a little bit out of frame. I want to check one thing really quickly. Okay, so in the original, the entire, well, rather to say, we want our entire monkey to fit inside of the coffin, not be outside of it. So we're just going to scale this up a tiny bit. There we go. And that's basically it for the placing. And now we're just going to get over to color grading the monkey first. So let's do that really quickly. There we go. Now we have our monkey a little more textured. So now he looks a little bit better. What I am going to do though is, since he is pretty bright, I want to make him a little bit darker than he is right now. So all that I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything around our monkey like so. I'm going to inverse the selection, and now with a black brush, all that I'm going to do is just go over our monkey in a second layer. We can deselect everything, and now I'm just going to change this mode right here until it looks good. Okay, there we go. Now our monkey is a little bit darker, so now he matches into everything a little bit more. Now all that I'm going to add is just a little drop shadow. I'm going to change the rotation of it so that the shadow goes up more like this, so that the light looks like it comes from down here, just like so. And that's it for thumbnail number 2. So I'm going to export this, and then you guys will see it. Okay guys, so that was it for the video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. I personally think that my thumbnails are getting much better. Obviously the thumbnails that I did in this video weren't too complicated and were pretty basic. But I still really hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!